Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio Royal Rumble post-show rewind. I am Tyler, the pro wrestling hipster at PW Hipster, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, the pro wrestling over on Facebook. Yeah, John, let's go. Royal Rumble night, guys. Let's introduce ourselves and hop right into this. It was one hell of a show tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It was an absolutely incredible show. Very looking forward to talking about it. CJ Carter at CJ Carter 22 on Twitter. Usually recapping NXT on every Tuesday nights, every SmackDown every Friday, and it's Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania has finally gotten underway. I am excited.
What's up, everybody? It's Frank Kerner here from Enforcers Pro Wrestling, Enforcers BJJ. I'm amped for the show. It was good, man. This is a good one. How'd you guys like it?
I thought this was a big thumbs up. Like, this was a great Royal Rumble. I had fun from start to finish. It finished up just around midnight Eastern. I should be specific. Yeah. Over in parts unknown Ohio here. All right, it's right outside Columbus. So it was a long show, but it didn't feel that long. The flow was really good. And we should probably go ahead and say this: the winner of the 2024 Royal Rumble, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Gentlemen, what is your reaction to this?
Definitely surprising, given how much they were really hyping up that Roman Reigns was getting called out by The Rock, and this was going to set up for WrestleMania. Well, now all of a sudden, Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble and specifically points at Roman Reigns. So obviously that sets a very main event implication vibe for WrestleMania 40. But what this does for Reigns versus The Rock, we'll still have to wait and see.
Right, because from what they've said, they're not. Neither of them are booked to appear at the Elimination Chamber show. I have no idea what's being said. The TV's down very low, but DDP is at the press conference talking to Cody Rhodes right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Cody should have won. They can't screw him over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, let's not go putting any vibes out into the world. I think my sister was watching the Royal Rumble at the same time, and right before number 30, Sami Zayn came out, she said it was gonna wind up being Shane McMahon, and I'm like, no.
I'd have lost my mind if that would have happened.
I absolutely would have. By the way, second night in a row, I forgot that I had my mic plugged in and just started shouting into the ether, expecting to be picked up. So
it happens.
I can finally stop shouting.
Oh, Mike wouldn't have crapped out.
I will say I'm glad that Hulk Hogan was not booked to be in the Royal Rumble. I really, really thought they were going to do it. Oh. I'm super glad they didn't. I feel like the only reason they didn't is because he probably can't take the bump over the top rope to the outside.
He could barely get inside the ring,
No, he would land on his back or his head and probably die.
It would just turn to dust.
Yeah.
It would just be dust and spray tan at that point. It would be awful.
Although that would really grab the headlines.
It really would.
Hogan literally returns to the ring, literally turns into dust.
Yeah, that would. Jeez Louise. So obviously Cody wins. I'm with you. I think it was the right decision. Yeah. The fact that they've been able to keep Cody hot for this entire year since last WrestleMania season, that's wild to me. Like, I don't know how they've done it. Like, there is something genuine about Cody. I'm a 38-year-old dude, and I get fucking excited to see Cody Rhodes come to the ring and wrestle and do his thing. Like, I marked out a bit during this. Like, I'm glad Cody won. Like, and that's weird. Like, it's rare that I can say something in professional wrestling genuinely makes me happy like that anymore. But I feel like it's the right thing. And like I said, the kids are asleep right now, but I'm pumped to tell the 7-year-old Cody won that because she likes Cody. So, like, it's cool. Like, I think that they've really hitched their wagon to Cody Rhodes. They expect him to be that next Hogan, that Cena level babyface. And I think he is knocking it out of the park, and he's going to continue to kill it going down the road.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that dude's a good guy. You could tell. I never met him, but he's a good guy overall. Everything he does is genuine. Mm-hmm. It's not fake. And pushed and everything. He's just a good person, a good role model for wrestling. So
Well, hell, I mean, that house show a couple weeks ago where he agreed to be that fan's best man because
Yeah.
he
that's sick.
brought a sign to the event.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Cody win. I thought it was going to be Punk though, because as we kind of talked about with The Rock and the WrestleMania implications that his appearance carried, I was anticipating that Punk was going to win and challenge Seth Rollins. That may still happen in a
I
way
think it
that's
will.
not Royal Rumble related. Yeah, because that's the feud that makes the most sense, as long as Seth is healthy enough to carry it.
Do you think Gunther's going to be the wild card? How they were teasing it the other day on Raw?
Well, I mean, do you think at the Elimination Chamber, the men's chamber match will be to determine who faces Seth?
I think they have to.
Yeah,
it's like we were talking about.
Gunther would definitely be in that match. Then I would say, without question, Gunther would be in it. But
Yeah.
but that's how you get Punk to Seth.
Yeah.
Although,
Well,
God,
and
like,
I know we had the realization that there isn't going to be a world title defense at Elimination Chamber because they're not going to fix Seth in the chamber. Sound minds working well on that one.
Which Seth is probably mad that he can't do it. Like, the man's such a consummate professional. I feel like he gets mad when he can't do these shows.
Like those were legitimate tears in at the start of his promo on Monday, and so for him. And especially unless they do a reverse on Rock and Reigns at WrestleMania, and they decide, hey, you know what? We're gonna pull some strings. We're gonna move this around. Let's have Rock versus Reigns at Elimination Chamber in Perth. Perth wanted The Rock anyways, so let's give them The Rock.
Well, and here's the thing. Yes, it's a B show by definition because it's Elimination Chamber. However, these B shows aren't B shows anymore. This is a new world.
Not when they go international.
And that makes it huge. And that would be a nice little feather in the cap for The Rock as well, to say that he was in front of an international crowd of that magnitude. And The Rock's gonna blow the roof off when he walks into, but that's in front of an audience that's never seen him perform live, in all likelihood.
Yeah.
I don't know if The Rock's ever wrestled it. I assume he has wrestled in Australia at some point. During the
probably on a house show tour or something like that.
Yeah. It would have been, my God, we're talking 25 years ago.
At least.
That would be huge. That would be a huge, huge main event for that show.
Yeah. They would have the dilemma of Roman couldn't lose, and you think The Rock would do the job? Possibly?
No. I think even if the match happened at WrestleMania, I think The Rock would put Reigns over. Which hopefully this, and I was kind of thinking this or I tweeted it out, something to that effect of, if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, then it's not happening. So if Roman doesn't lose the title at WrestleMania 40, it's gonna be until WrestleMania 41 that he loses it, because this is where the championship reign is at now. It has to be a WrestleMania moment, period.
I agree with you. If Reigns retains at Mania, he's not potentially losing again until WrestleMania.
Yeah,
he'll break Hulk Hogan's record.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, here's the thing. I want Cody to win the title from Reigns at WrestleMania. I wanted it last year. I want it even more this year. And I really feel like they have to do it this year. I don't know if they can keep the magic going without that title win another year. But I would also not hate if Reigns beat Hogan's record.
But at what point do you? It's that same argument with Cody Rhodes of how do you keep his momentum going? How do you position yourself as a viable contender to lose the Rumble or to win the Rumble 2 years in a row and then lose the title shot 2 years in a row?
Right, and he has to win. It's a must-win situation for him. I think it would break his character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
he has said when he was promoting the video game, if I haven't completed the story, don't even put me in 2K25. I won't have earned it.
I agree.
Yeah. That was Ziggy. She's loud. All the dogs are in the bedroom, but the cats are running amok out here.
Yeah,
Wednesday, about a second ago. but
Random tangent, but since we're talking about cats, the shelter that I work at just picked up a Maine Coon from the city pound. If you've never seen it, if you've never seen a Maine Coon cat before, just massive. I mean, the paws on this thing are just freaking massive, but the friendliest cat in the whole world. So, and the shelter manager knows someone that was looking for a Maine Coon, so we're gonna find her a home right away.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, hello.
Big Bengal cat.
Welcome to Dirt Sheet Radio, Kitty. But some fun moments in the Rumble match itself. First thing I'll bring up, Punk hitting Cody with a pedigree.
Yeah, deep one too. You see how lucky
that wink nod to the camera.
Yeah. I didn't wait 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid.
That and we were talking about or no, you and I weren't. Sorry, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. That not that we're not friends, but
I know what you mean, CJ.
Yeah, separate conversation with separate friends. Laying the seeds for a Punk heel turn with comments like that, talking about I'm not going to lose to Dusty's kid. So even if they do decide that Seth can't compete somewhere down the road, they may decide to pull the trigger on Cody versus Punk, even at Perth.
You think they do it that soon? I was kind of thinking that Punk would be Cody's first title feud after winning.
Well, it depends if he stays on Raw or if he moves to SmackDown.
Well, this is kind of this is an aside, but hey, this is the joy of live radio, folks. With all of the changes coming up for the weekly programming, Raw moving to Netflix, SmackDown going to USA, and obviously NXT moving to CW. With all of these changes happening, do you think there's any chance that we see an end to the roster split and maybe go back to just a singular world champion?
We talk about this every single time that it's either we have a brand split and the question is posed about taking away the brand split, and then you take away the brand split and suddenly the question becomes, do we need a brand split? It's essentially a hamster wheel.
It's a cat one again and then outside. Yeah. It's okay. Fair enough.
And I know your thoughts on superfluous titles and how they devalue the rest of the titles if you have too much. And yes, that is a very solid argument. However, WWE is at the size that it is to say that it cannot have a roster split supporting the talent size that they have. So that's where you end up with an AEW type situation where you get some Dynamite guys, you get some Rampage guys, you get some Collision guys, but at the end of the day, you still have the AEW feuds that overarch on all three shows, taking that time away from that dedicated talent. Side note, but I have to laugh because every time I get into one of my rants on an episode of NXT, I notice Tyler kind of like sits back and relaxes because he knows it's going to be a minute.
Grab a beer.
So that actually helps kind of keep me from rambling too much, I think, is when I see Tyler kind of get relaxed, I'm like, okay, I'll give it about another 30 seconds and then I'll wrap it up.
I didn't know I had these kind of tells. I had no idea.
So I'm not wrong, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I also kind of shift around. I work in a small couch area here.
I fully empathize with that. I'm currently sitting on a wooden bench and just a pillow for support.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we do to bring you the coverage that we supply for Dirt Sheet Radio.
It reminds me of that really old "Don't try this at home" PSA that they put their bodies, their careers, and the lives on the line. Meanwhile, it's just like me shifting uncomfortably on a wooden stool.
Guys, so someone brought this up in the chat here. Chauncey Griffin, Jordan Grace making an appearance.
Killed it.
Like that was fantastic.
I love that.
This relationship between WWE and TNA is going to be fun. And there was some talk on social media that like it's going to be something bigger going forward. And they really gave her a lot of shine too. Like she looked like $1 million.
Yeah. Map big time.
Well, and I can't help but draw the parallel to Mickie James being in the Rumble in, what was that, 2022, I think? When she was the Knockouts champion.
Yeah.
But I notice a lot was done differently. Obviously, the acknowledgement was completely different. Like Michael Cole said Impact maybe once when Mickie James was in the Rumble. They acknowledged the title wrong. Like it was the Impact Women's World Champion, according to the lower third, not the Knockouts title. So even now, like I noticed, they credited her as the TNA Knockouts champion, which I thought was fantastic.
And they said TNA multiple times.
Yeah.
And that was wild. And that was a fun moment too, which again, like with I know we're kind of hopping around here a little bit, but hey, it's the Royal Rumble, guys. It was a 4-match card.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
That's why SmackDown was only a half an hour recap show yesterday, because it was like 4 matches and just me. I only had so much opinion.
Right.
But side note, have we officially started talking about the Women's Rumble match?
Let's see. Was there anything else on the Men's Rumble? Any big moments that stuck out? Any?
Actually, you know what? I thought Gunther was gonna have a better showing. I thought he was gonna. Yeah, like they're talking about how he ran the gauntlet last year, and I thought he was going to endeavor to do that again this year, and then he comes out at what, like not even 15, something like that.
18.
Yeah. 18. Yeah.
This is one of my more
Cody's was 15.
note takings I did tonight.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Cody was 15. I fell apart on the order of elimination. I don't know how I started missing people, but that happened. But yeah,
it happens.
He didn't have a really, really great showing. But it's I think they're probably just sliding him kind of backwards in the Rumble like that because they'll kick into his story going into WrestleMania, which I'm hoping will be one more round with Chad Gable, and then he can move forward from there. Which I assume at some point he'll have a world title feud with Seth or Punk, whomever. I mean, they crossed paths in the Rumble tonight. That was interesting. That was one thing that was really interesting to see tonight was CM Punk mixing with wrestlers he's never been in a ring with before.
Yeah, with Drew, it looked crazy, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping we were going to see with Punk and AEW. Didn't quite happen to the extent or to the success that it has been so far with his WWE return. But I thought, just to go back to the TNA partnership, I thought we were going to see better representation in the Men's Royal Rumble. I thought we were going to see Moose come out. Which unfortunately didn't happen, but who knows? This could lead to something bigger and better in future years. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, quick question. Was Pat McAfee's spot Brock Lesnar's? That was inaudible.
That is incredible.
That's a good question.
Because he was not dressed to wrestle. When he hopped up, I'm like, no. I'm like, that's a pair of blue jeans, or they were black, but it was jeans, a dress shirt, and cowboy boots with a heel about that big on them. Yeah. And it's just, I'm like, he's not dressed to do this. And immediately I'm like, okay, cool. He's going to hop back out of the ring. It's going to be a little, lighthearted comedy spot. Frank, I bet you're right. That was probably Lesnar's spot.
Yeah.
I thought
that
we
would
were
be
going to see Trick Williams in the Rumble based
I did
on
too.
how
I did too.
SmackDown went. Like the fact that he was in the state, he's in the state anyways, but you would think that with all the momentum he's got right now, he would have killed in the Rumble.
That pop he got the other day was insane, right?
Oh, which is great. Which
Yeah.
like shit. Like, should they be moved? I mean,
they got to do something with him right away.
I mean, I know
obviously
that,
they're just calling up Carmelo Hayes, but should
right,
they be considering calling up Trick too?
Which
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously like kind of at a side here, he's on the trajectory to win the NXT championship. But like, hell, should they maybe sideswipe that and just go ahead and get him up to the main roster because they knew who he was, like, and they were into it, like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he deserves that NXT championship.
He does.
But
I mean, let that story finish and then get him up. But
yeah, and nothing against Ilya. Like, he has had a tremendous run as champion, but at the same time, Trick's got it. Like, he can't be denied. You cannot hinder Trick.
Yeah, but do you think it'll honestly matter if they just bumped him up?
Tyler sees what I did there.
As hot as he is right now, would the NXT title matter overall? The way he is right now?
I mean,
I think so.
He could do both.
Yeah,
I mean, they have that they've done so much crossover anyway, but
well, and even with Mello.
Yeah, and Mello looked good tonight. Mello had a good showing. I'll say this, and I'm always reminded of this when I see him more outside of an NXT field of wrestlers. Mello is not a big dude.
No,
he is definitely well, and even compared to Trick, like, he's much shorter. Always been like Enzo sized even.
Yeah. That's probably fair.
Trick is big.
It would be remiss, like, especially between CJ and I. I was going to go with Braun Breaker, but yeah, Andrade. His return tonight.
Braun, I mean, yeah.
But Andrade, which that was on one of my predictions. I was saying I believed Andrade would make his return tonight. He got a reasonable pop. I feel like his pop increased when he took the mask off.
Yeah,
I think there were maybe some folks that didn't quite remember who he was.
Yeah,
well, fair.
Would it have been 3 or 4 years?
He's heel.
Yeah, I think they said 2.5 on commentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again,
he
had
definitely
a pretty good
wrestled the pandemic WrestleMania.
Okay. But yeah, he had a pretty good showing in there, which is cool.
Excellent.
Breaker, like, he is so ready to be on the main roster.
Yeah.
Like,
I laughed so hard when he speared JD.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Just so angry. Like, and the crowd was into it, doing the bark. Like, it was again just power move after power move. And they let him look good tonight. Did he eliminate Omos?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, was it? Okay.
Yes, I think he did.
Which, and you know what? That's they almost not a Bret Hart level technician by any means, but this
How dare you, sir?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I've never seen the man bust out a sharpshooter. That's all I'm saying. But like, this is the proper use of Omos. Yeah. Special attraction. Like, cause I'm gonna be honest. Like, you only see him a few times a year, and I always forget how damn big he actually is. And you know what? It's impressive when you hear about how Andre the Giant was just like. And again, I'm not really comparing his in-ring acumen to Andre the Giant, but the way Andre was used, where he would go territory to territory, and he was always a big draw because you didn't see him all the time. Yeah. That's how you use him. And also, it made Braun Breaker look like $1 million to eliminate him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And especially considering, an NXT talent, even though he's Braun Breaker, he's still an NXT talent. Yeah. To be able to have that impressive of a showing is
the showdown with Gunther.
He pressed Gunther.
They are definitely setting him up for something special.
Yeah.
You know what? As much as I want to see Chad Gable beat Gunther for the IC title, seeing Braun Breaker do it.
And Braun Breaker eliminated Jimmy Uso and Finn Balor.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's big stars. Those are big main event level stars that he took out.
Mm-hmm.
But Good for Braun. Good for Braun. Like, I figure sometime after Mania, he'll be on the main roster. We've talked about this a little bit on the NXT rewinds, but right now I feel like they're just in the show. You can tell storyline wise, they're just kind of biding his time.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, like, especially heading into Vengeance Day, where it's obvious he and Baron Corbin are going to be they are scheduled to head to the finals of the Dusty Cup. Whether they're actually going to win it or not is anybody's guess. But if they don't call up Baron Corbin alongside Braun Breaker, do you see them having a split and feud heading into Stand and Deliver?
Oh, no.
Yeah, probably like as his kind of last send off, and then you know what? Because that would be something that they could have. Braun could lose the program because that's you lose on your way out of the territory, as it would be.
Yeah.
So like that would work. That would work well.
Yeah, make Baron.
But also,
why not?
Give Baron some kind of win. You got to do something to keep him looking credible down there. He loses every damn program.
Dude,
he's the
so
NXT Nakamura.
Yeah, he's so good, which is bad. He's good on the mic, good in the ring. Just something never clicks with him.
Yeah. They try and try. They've tried and tried. That's why on NXT on Tuesdays we have our Constable Corbin of the night as opposed to the Chopper of the night. But, also a little kind of, I think maybe perhaps a WrestleMania match preview tonight. The match began with Jimmy and Jey Uso at 1 and 2. And I forget. So it was 90-second intervals tonight. I'm going to be honest. I got pretty lost in the 90 seconds of them going at it that I, for a second, forgot it was the Rumble match.
No,
I definitely forgot. Yeah, like it was 90 seconds of just like, hey, is it actually 90 seconds? Like it felt like longer and not in a bad way.
Yeah, I want that booked for WrestleMania. I want give them like 20 minutes just to do that at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's night 1 or night 2, but holy hell, it'd be fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they were going for the old Demolition vibe, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. R-Truth appeared in both Rumbles tonight. We'll talk about the first appearance later. But the Cena spot was fun for that. Crowd seemed really, really into it.
Yeah.
He protected Dom from being thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dom, by the way, who bumped his ass off tonight.
Dude,
he's
doing good.
I think Dom took just about everybody's finisher that gave out a finisher.
Yeah.
Like, he was just flipping and flopping around the ring all day. I feel like he's kind of in that Dolph Ziggler role now, where it's like, Dom's going to make you look like $1 million. He'll sell to a broom.
That was another thing, too. They mentioned the name Dolph Ziggler on commentary very early on in the match, talking about records for eliminations, I think, or most Rumble entrants. Yeah,
he and Kofi are tied, I believe, at 15 now.
Yeah,
which it's amazing that they would acknowledge the tie and name Dolph Ziggler specifically. Makes me wonder what we're going to see as far as their partnership with TNA and the former WWE talent, like specifically even Nick Nemeth, that are contracted there.
Yeah, I actually a little expected Nick Nemeth, not Dolph Ziggler, but Nick Nemeth to be in the Rumble tonight. I really did, like, because you were saying earlier, and we'll get.
But then they wouldn't have tied the record.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have brought back Dirty Dango. So, not kidding.
Yeah. But I think tonight what they said was Kofi Kingston's 16th Rumble appearance. 16th.
Wow.
Which they said Kane has 17.
17 or 18, right?
It's
something like that.
At this point, they're like, I think in all likelihood, Kofi remaining healthy will probably surpass that. But
I can't imagine he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Anything else on the men's Rumble?
I don't know. Kofi didn't look good today, right? He didn't get a spot or anything. He kind of just like.
Well, the last couple of years that he's tried haven't gone well, so it doesn't surprise me that he's called that quits.
Yeah, I mean, he's still obviously an incredible athlete, but You can only do those wild jump spots for so long. You can't.
Yeah.
No one can jump 10 feet forward their entire life.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's how you end up with knees like Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Ludwig Kaiser's facial expressions as he made his entrance, and the brawl just moved past him. Like he looked so offended that his entrance was marred by that. But
that guy's
also him getting eliminated just as Gunther was coming out.
Oh
yeah, and that was also fantastic. Like continuing the dissolving of Imperium there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just kind of an aside here, if my math is correct on this, the most eliminations tonight, it was a tie between Cody Rhodes and Braun Breaker, both with 4.
Wow.
Very
low numbers as far as the records.
Yeah. I noticed that tonight. No one really seemed to go off on that tear. Like this is if my math was right. Like I tried my best, guys. It's a lot going on at once, But I had Rhodes at 4, Breaker at 4, and there was a few 2s. Lashley had 2, Punk had 2, McIntyre had 2. Yeah, but other than that, it was just a lot of 1s really across the board. So yeah, no one had that 9 to 11 eliminations this year, which is a little surprising. They usually let somebody go on that big tear.
Kind of refreshing though.
Yeah, change it up.
So you don't have to set a new record every single year.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite things said on commentary during the beginning of the Rumble match when the Usos were going at it. Blood is thicker than water, but is it thicker than a WrestleMania main event? I'm not sure what that means, Corey Graves.
I mean, it's tough enough converting kilograms, like imperial to metric. Now you're trying to convert a liquid measurement to a WrestleMania main event. What charts are we using here? I'm already confused.
And I only know for certain that blood is thicker than wood, according to the Dudley Boys. That's what one of their T-shirts said. So I don't know. The math doesn't seem to work on any of this. But anything else on the men's Rumble, or shall we hop around and talk about the women's Rumble?
Let's do it.
Let's go to the women's. That was awesome.
All right, yeah. Again, both Rumbles were fantastic tonight. The women's Rumble opened the show, and it opened with Natalya Neidhart and the return of Naomi. And I was a little surprised that she was Naomi. I thought she was going to come back as Trinity.
No,
I feel like the TNA partnership is only so deep.
Yeah,
fair enough. But yeah, it was cool to see her back. Crowd was excited. Natty looked excited. So a lot of the women that got in the ring with Naomi tonight looked pretty pumped to be in the ring with Naomi tonight. Yeah. And that led
even
to
Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I was going to say real fun moment with her and Jordan Grace. Loved the embrace into the hockey punches. Fantastic spot.
At the same time, no less. Like that was some impressive coordination.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So we should go ahead and let this cat out of the bag. The winner of the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble, my pro wrestling hipster pick, was Bayley.
Yeah,
my pick as well. I can't say I was really surprised. Okay, while this is on the screen and we see this shot of Bayley pointing, was there a point in this match where Roxanne Perez tried to steal the first point of the season? Did anybody else catch that?
No, I don't think I did.
No, I didn't either.
She was randomly, she was just the one person standing in the middle of the ring, and I don't know if she actually got the full point, but she definitely she was
reaching. She was trying.
Yeah.
Huh. No, I didn't catch that.
No, that's a good option.
That's slick, Roxanne. That's slick. Second Rumble appearance. You get that point in.
Right? It's like I stand 0 chance of winning this match, but gosh darn it, I'm gonna sell.
Yeah, she's gonna be in wrestler court now.
Also tonight, in the number 30 slot, we had the return of Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
I
happy
was,
to see Liv back.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I was really happy to see Liv
Workhorse,
back.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, she's
Again,
a workhorse, girl.
had a pretty good showing, albeit not super long, as she came in at 30. So there's only so much you can do in that time. But it was great to see her back, and quite a surprise to see her back. I, for some reason, in thinking of all of the folks that could potentially have returned tonight, I didn't consider her at all. I don't know how. I completely forgot about her.
Yeah.
And this is also skipping over the debut of Jade Cargill.
Yeah, God, that's the thing. There's so many big points coming out of tonight. It's like the notes are all over the place here. Yeah, Jade Cargill, hell of a showing tonight too.
Eliminated Nia Jax.
Yep.
She looked like $1 million.
I was so happy to see that.
Yeah. They know how to promote her. Not like
Oh,
AEW.
absolutely.
Yeah. She looks like $1 million today.
Yep. And commentary made such a big deal about her debuting tonight, and again, plugged what a big deal they made when they signed her. And you know what? This was the right way to do it. It made her first appearance look big. Obviously, she wasn't going to win the Rumble, but she came off looking like $1 million, and like you said, she eliminated Nia Jax, which endeared her to the entire audience tonight.
Where do we see her landing? I mean, if she eliminated Nia, that could set up for the WrestleMania match for Jade Cargill. As much as that sucks, but it sets her up for something. I mean, yes, Nia Jax is a champion in her own right, but come on. No. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's I could if they do feud her with Nia first off this, that would land her on Raw. But I mean, they have established that they have wrestlers that are more or less free-floating agents that can go between Raw and SmackDown until they make a long-term decision. So I mean, they could maybe have her kind of do the float thing until after WrestleMania, but it's hard to say.
Well, and I mean, heading into WrestleMania, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more cross-brand interactions anyways. And so heading to that point about whether we're still going to see any real cross-brand promotion once Raw heads to Netflix, SmackDown heads to Fox, or back to Peacock, NXT heads to the CW. I don't see that ending, even though we're on 2 networks and a streaming service. I think money's always going to talk, and it's always going to find a way to, especially from the side of the broadcasters, to put WWE first. You got to put the client first. Right. So I think if WWE pushes hard enough, they're going to find a way to say, no, we're just going to keep on doing what we've been doing, and you're going to tolerate it, or we'll walk.
Yeah, but they're going to have a thing like with Roman where he's exclusive. That could get in the way.
Well, and Roman's only exclusive because they said whoever wins the World Heavyweight Championship was going to be defended solely on Raw, and Roman Reigns was going to defend solely on SmackDown. If and when he loses the title at WrestleMania, the draft, I'm sure, is going to be right around the corner, and if they decide that they really want to shake things up, then they might move Roman to Raw.
I mean, or could they potentially flip the titles and put Cody on Raw?
Yeah, could be that too.
Do it back.
Maybe Cody brings that title to Raw, and then whoever ends up, if Seth wins at WrestleMania, or if someone beats Seth at WrestleMania, then they may jump to SmackDown.
You think they like Punk as the World Heavyweight Champion could go to SmackDown?
Well, and I mean, it feels like if they do that, Peacock is always just getting the short end of the stick. USA is the B show now, no matter where you end up going. Because now that Raw is headed to Netflix, that's obviously going to be the A show again until SmackDown inevitably joins Netflix in the US. And I imagine NXT would follow suit too, but I think that'll all depend on money again. It's just making sure that WWE gets the best bang for their buck, and they're gonna do whatever they want anyways.
Right.
All right, quick question. How do you think WWE's got to do on Netflix? It's a weird one.
I think they're going to do well. I think it's going to bring a slightly younger audience in overall, due to it being streaming and not like main platform cable. I think especially internationally, it's going to do really well because like Netflix does well in the US, but Netflix does incredibly well in other countries. And because like, and there's so many things. It's like, oh, like The Office, for example. It's on Netflix in most places except for the US. It's on Peacock here. But like Netflix has deals, much larger deals outside of the United States. And that's why, like, for example, Cody, you're basically getting the WWE network on Netflix once that change happens. So
Well, and that was going to be my question too, of like, what is the cost benefit for Peacock versus Netflix? So, I know, obviously, me being Canadian, I have no idea of how Peacock works. So correct me if I'm wrong, but when I remember looking into it, it was there because there is a free ad-supported version of Peacock, but that does not include access to the WWE content library. You have to use the paid. One of the paid tiers to access that content. Now, transition to Netflix. I pay for Sportsnet. I can't remember what the per month is because it usually fluctuates with whatever. I think it's like $14.99 a month for the package that provides WWE. Switch to Netflix, and unless they have a specific tier for WWE, you have the entirety of Netflix for what their ad-supported version. I think their cheapest option right now is going to be $14.99 after this WWE at library gets added. So, and that's the ad-supported version, I think, isn't it? Or is that at like $11.99? Or no, that's the one they removed.
Yeah, that's the one they removed. And they could even have another price. They could even have another price hike before then.
Oh, and they even said as much. They said our subscribers have to be prepared to keep up with the cost of our shows, but that's completely ass backwards. You know, create the content that people will want to subscribe for, charge them $9.99 a month to do it, and you will have essentially the exact same money.
Yeah.
Because you have more subscribers.
Yeah, well, the thing too is Netflix doesn't release the ratings, so nobody will know how they're doing either.
No, and that's just gonna piss off everybody that's clear, like, but the ratings, like, no, that doesn't. But the demos, I don't fucking care. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I never rooted for the demos ever, right?
Right.
Exactly. Now, one other thing that I wanted to talk about the women's match for, did they take the Diamond Mine logo out of Ivy Niles' entrance video? Did anybody else notice that?
I didn't. I wasn't paying that close attention on it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, because I mean, it was just something that kind of caught my eye, and I thought, like, they had changed the aesthetic overall, but I would have thought they would have left some sort of connection to the creeds, which there didn't seem to be. But granted, they didn't have much of a screen at the top of the stage, so or the ring apron, so I didn't really get to see it.
Yeah,
I didn't know if anybody else did.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. But speaking of Ivy Nile too, she had a pretty good spot in there with Jordan Grace tonight too. A lot of power moves between the two. The stereo vertical suplexes. That was it was a fun spot.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a fun spot. No, that was a fun spot. No, I'm talking about Maxine Dupree, and I want to know why Maxine Dupree is in this match, and I want to know why they couldn't have gone to anyone else at all.
Yeah, she's terrible. Is that her gimmick, or is she just that bad too?
No, she's just that bad.
But aren't they
Like,
making it a gimmick? Like she's so bad, that's her
it
gimmick.
kind
though?
of is, but like,
Kind of like she's improving.
yeah, but here's the thing: she's
But she's
not.
No.
Like,
Horrible.
she's not. It's like, and I like Alpha Academy. I have fun with the segments. Like, it's always a good time. But like, holy hell, she is bad.
Yeah. She can't do anything.
And I mean, if they would have done the Valhalla treatment to Maxine Dupree, like they wouldn't have taken anything from the match. Which that was another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like I was on board with R-Truth coming out during Valhalla's entrance and getting ready to enter the Rumble, and it's like, no, you're entering the Women's Rumble. Which of course he got eliminated, quote unquote, by Nia Jax, anyways. But then Valhalla gets into the ring and she's tossed out like 5 seconds later too.
Right.
I was on board up until it was a detriment to Valhalla. And not that I'm a huge Valhalla supporter. Like I like Sarah Logan more than I like Valhalla, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I already know your thoughts on the Viking Raiders. So the Viking gimmick in general. But it's a comedy spot that didn't need to be like. I get, yes, we laugh at R-Truth. He is comedy gold. He is a national treasure that needs to be protected. All these good things about R-Truth. And unfortunately, Sarah Logan, Valhalla, is a victim of the R-Truth spotlight.
Yeah.
As much as it sucks to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're right. It was a fun spot, but it didn't make her look very good. I don't really understand how that caused her to be in the ring for such a short period of time. That didn't really make a lot of sense.
No.
And then she was trying to kill R-Truth after. So that, that was that. But it was funny to watch him slide in the ring and then audibly shout, "Where all the guys at?"
And fair. And if they would have done the reverse and had Valhalla attack R-Truth on his way down to the men's match to cost him his shot at it, I would have been fine with that because fair is fair. But they didn't capitalize on it. It was just Valhalla's the victim, and she didn't have much of a Rumble experience because of R-Truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
They'll probably do something with Ivar, on Monday.
Yeah.
Jump.
That makes sense. Maybe set up like a couple week TV feud.
Who eliminated Ivar?
Was it Braun?
It might have been.
I feel
might have been Braun.
I feel like it was Braun. Sure. I'm trying to think of who else it could have been.
Because if he only had 4. And we talked about him eliminating Jimmy Uso, Finn Balor. So if he also eliminated Ivar, then who does that leave as the 4th?
Let's see. Kings of he comes there. I'm trying to see. Braun Breaker eliminated Ivar. I was able to go back there in the notes here. Yeah, so it was Breaker. Sorry.
So who is that 4th name?
The 4th one that Breaker
eliminated.
Let's see here. Let me.
Yeah, no clue.
I always forget there's 2 K's in that. I'm a terrible speller, and I always forget that.
What's on right,
it's a stupid spelling to begin with. And then you have to consider Braun Breaker versus Braun Strowman, like the 2 different spellings that way too.
Yeah. Let's see. Dominic eliminated Braun. Let's see. Right. So Jimmy Uso eliminated via Braun Breaker. Balor eliminated via Braun Breaker. Ivar. Omos.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was the 4th.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive too.
Thank goodness for the search and find function on a webpage there. Thank you, technology. That's
Could you imagine how they did Royal Rumble coverage back in the day? How would they have? How easy would it, or how hard would it have been to stream without their notes?
Well, I mean, and you just think about the folks that have been doing this sort of gig for so long, like you know, Dave or Wade or like whomever, like God, like you've seen so much change in technology in the like 30 plus years that this is, the wrestling coverage has been a big thing. Like it's wild, but no, I don't know. I can't imagine. Thank you,
I mean, the
Internet.
fact that Pro Wrestling Illustrated still operates a physical magazine and can't afford to in this day and age is impressive.
Yeah. It's wild to me that there are still magazines. You rarely see me. The fiance were talking about that just the other day. It's just like we used to get magazines for everything.
Yeah.
Like hell, I remember when WWE magazine shut down. I bought that last issue. Like I had a subscription to that when I was in like middle school and high school. Like it was
I've still got a Rubbermaid tote somewhere in my parents' shed of basically every magazine from August 06 on till, oh God, I don't even know how many.
Yeah. Too much happens right now. By the time they make a magazine, it's so played out, the storylines.
Oh, that's so true though.
That's true, and that was even the thing back in the day with like PWI. Like it would always have your champion lists and like all that sort of thing. But by the time it hit newsstands, it was usually weeks or months out of date. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else on the women's rumble? As far as appearances, or we had Tiffany Stratton made an appearance tonight.
Yeah.
She had a good showing.
Dude, she's
and again, just like Braun, she is so main roster bound. It's not even.
I was surprised to see her eliminate Zoe Stark.
Yeah, Zoe looked good too.
Zoe did look good, but I don't really know what their plan is with Zoe right now. I mean, I guess they're just going to kind of they have her kind of in a holding pattern with Shayna Baszler in their tag team, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like ever since the Trish Stratus storyline ended, it's just kind of been treading water.
Yeah. And that's the unfortunate part of some of these storylines that revolve around legend involvement. Like, I think that's why Baron Corbin didn't get over when they stuck JBL with him. Like you can only rely on the Hall of Fame rub to a point before it starts to become a detriment. And not to try and say that Trish Stratus is a detriment, Canadian love all the way. Like, but it definitely, that whole storyline rubbed me the wrong way for reasons I would better be suited to talk about on the not Royal Rumble recap show. But I see how relaxed Tyler's getting. I know I'm ranting.
No. I sat like this before you started. this time it's about my back.
Gotcha. Oh God, I feel that though. Like as you said back, and I just immediately went, "Oh yeah, that's gonna need to crack in a minute." But no, I think there was a lot more harm done to Zoe, and sticking her right into a tag team right after that feud wasn't the answer. No disrespect to Shayna Baszler, but there should have been something better, honestly, for both of them. Right now than teaming with each other. As weird and awful as that sounds.
Yeah,
they make a good tag team, but they don't.
Yeah, they do. It makes sense at least for the team.
Yeah. Like they make a good tag team, but it's kind of like I hope they find success like the Bar, where they were just initially just a slap together tag team that really managed to hit it and get success. I hope that's what we see if they continue to team. Otherwise, I hope they both have very good singles careers.
Yeah, agreed. One last thing on Valhalla. Michael Cole was really, really amped that she had those
excited for those fucking antlers.
Like, and I respect Michael Cole, I'll say, but I wanted to punch him so badly during that.
Oh, unreal.
Frank, CJ knows this very well, as do a lot of the regular viewers. I fucking hate the Viking Raiders gimmick. I hate it. I think it's the dumbest thing on television. I think it's one of the dumbest gimmicks in the history of wrestling. And that is saying something, because wrestling has had some whoppers of bad gimmicks over the years. I'd like to remind everyone that that a garbage man was a wrestling character.
A tax collector.
Oh my god! You know what? But
pig farmer.
a pair of pig farmers. That was a small pig farming stable. Like it's crazy. They've you know what? All of the occupation gimmicks. That was such
Prison
a weird
security
time.
guard.
Oh my god! Nails. His gimmick was that he was a felon. Like holy shit! Like what? Mantar. What happened?
Well,
to
and I
Mantar?
mean that we could fall into a weird gimmick related rabbit hole. Shout out Hornswoggle.
Someday we need to do a Dirt Sheet Radio like just
That would be a great April Fool's
gimmicks.
episode.
Fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
We need to put that on the back burner. We need to. This is recorded. One of us will remember. But
tell you, okay, let's pivot back to the Rumble. Did Jade Cargill get her AEW music?
You know, it had been so long.
Because I tried listening for it.
I couldn't really make it out too well on the entrance.
There were a couple points in that electric guitar that I thought sounded really familiar. And if they did, I think that really adds to her not credentials, but like the main event sort of level that she brings to the table. Because how often do you see that happen where someone will bring their theme with them to the WWE? Like AJ Styles didn't get that treatment. Cody Rhodes did, but I think that was more so because it was in his contract. But for Jade Cargill to get that theme,
you can make an argument that Punk did because he's taking.
Sure.
But I mean, the point is, so like those are top level stars that get that kind of treatment. Like, you know,
like the fact that they let her keep Jade Cargill. Like, if you didn't know that she was in AEW, if you didn't actually see her, you wouldn't know who the hell Jade Cargill is. Right. So the fact that they are treating her, ever since she signed, they gave her that star treatment. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did shell out a few extra bucks so that they could broadcast her theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
She screams superstar though. You know,
like eliminating Nia Jax is a perfect example.
Oh yeah, like with ease, she's tossed her around.
and you know, tonight laid a lot of groundwork for the feuds going into WrestleMania. Oh, and also we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up that Bayley did set the record for the longest run in the Women's Royal Rumble, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 3 seconds.
Well, and they had announced that who else broke the record? Someone else had broken the record earlier in the night, and then it was broken again in the same match by Bayley.
It would have
Naomi.
It would have had to have been Naomi because she was in it number 2. Which I mean, if we're being fair, the number 1 and the number 2 entrants in the Rumble are basically in the same spot, but
they're literally the same.
Yeah, the bell rings and it's 1 and 2.
Yeah, but anything else on the Women's Rumble?
Oh, real quick, Tiffany Stratton's swanton that she did on everyone.
Yeah,
dude, that was amazing. It looked beautiful.
Yeah,
it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
I was watching the Royal Rumble with my sister, and Ludwig Kaiser was coming out, and of course the way he moves, very, very effeminately. She asked the question. And I said, no, he's actually dating Tiffany Stratton. And she goes, for real?
Yeah. That dude got it, man. He got that old school gimmick going, you know?
Oh, yeah. I love it, period.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So that will bring us up to the Fatal 4-Way for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship 2.0. 5001. Randy Orton, AJ
Highway
Styles.
97, 7-Eleven.
Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns defending. Roman Reigns, obviously, good grief. Obviously, there he is. I don't know why when that popped up, I thought that was a Slim Jim for half a second. I don't like. I think it's
okay, but
it's like
honestly,
colors,
the fact like this poster, you see all the logos of their sponsors in the background. You would think that given how close they came to losing them in total, they would put them on the fucking poster.
Yeah, Slim Jim would like somebody should be getting that tattooed on them right now. They did have the Slim Jim section out there, but yeah, Roman Reigns successfully retains the Universal Championship tonight. I don't think anyone thought it was going to go any other way. They did have a pretty big hope spot there where it looked like Orton was going to win, and then the referee was yanked out of the ring by Solo Sikoa. By the way, the match went roughly 20 minutes tonight, so they gave it a fair amount of time. I gotta say that on the Fatal 4-Way thing, and I don't know if I'm alone in feeling this way. The match as a concept, I have fundamental issues with. That one, I've always thought it's silly that a champion can lose their title and not be involved in a finish, and also that there's no DQ because it's like it's kind of nonsensical at that point. Anything goes. Like you can figure out a way to work rules then where DQs can still happen, or back in ECW, if it was a match like that, it was elimination.
Yeah,
but like I always just feel like it's a little bit of a cop-out when they do matches like this. I was very surprised that Orton took the pin, right?
No, AJ did.
No,
AJ did. It was AJ. Okay. Yeah. I was surprised it wasn't LA Knight.
I was kind of glad it wasn't LA Knight, but I'm also glad that they went with a finish that saw AJ and LA Knight costing themselves, like costing the other, their victories tonight. Really sets them up for their own WrestleMania feud, and it's just great overall storytelling. Like the storytelling in this event, even with the U.S. title match, which we'll talk about in a bit, was some of the best storytelling, not bloodline related, that I've seen over the last, the entire Vince era. Like I love, and this has Rob Fee written all over it. Like this long-term storytelling stuff. So hopefully we see more of it to come because I love this.
Oh yeah. And by the way, this was the Slim Jim sponsored match.
Yeah. I laugh so hard when the barricade turned to the Slim Jim the logo, and it's like, okay, we get it. You've got the sponsorship package. Stuff's going off.
Barricade everything.
It reminded me of back in the day. I can't remember what year it was, but there was a Halloween Havoc, and the ring posts were painted to look like giant Slim Jims.
Oh my god.
Slim Jim has a long, storied history with professional wrestling. So
yeah, much.
It continues to this day. But what did you think? Go ahead.
Was that you that we were talking about the Long Boys part of the ad?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it. It was the Long Boys gang because the Slim Jims are, they're Long Boys, BOIS. It's not a great ad campaign. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's not a great ad campaign because I'm 38. I feel I might think it's really rad if I was like 15, but also if I was 15, I would have
with
just
the kids
like
than Slim Jims.
Hey, you know what? No, the 7-year-old likes Slim Jims. So
fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like now if I eat a Slim Jim, I'm going to have heartburn like 20 minutes later. So.
Oh my god, it's crazy
for a week.
But then when I was younger though, ate them all the time. It's one of those kind of random wrestling memories. But me and a buddy of mine, we would ride our bikes to the little local video store and rent a bunch of Coliseum VHS tapes and buy a shitload of Slim Jims. Probably was why I'm the paragon of health that I am today.
Did they have hot rods in the U.S.?
Like the cars? Or
no, they're meat sticks, similar to Slim Jim. They I think it must just be a Canadian thing, but essentially, yeah, hot rods are just a different company's Slim Jim.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a few different brands around down here, but that's not one that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next time I'm up that way, I'm gonna have to hunt down the hot rod. Like, no affiliation to Roddy Piper though. It's wild. It's wild.
No,
But,
it's awful.
Real shame. They missed a real chance. Canadian
I wanted
native
to.
Roddy Piper.
Oh, exactly. I wanted to point out though too. There was the triple stack pin, which I love that they made the official call that Roman couldn't stack two opponents in a fatal four-way match. It had to be all three. And then of course they end up giving the stack pin to AJ, Roman Reigns being the man on top of the stack. His shoulder wasn't even touching the ground. If you watch on that replay, watch his right shoulder. It's not even close to the mat. I think it's actually resting on Randy's face.
Yeah.
That was a slow kick out too, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a little of a contrived spot there, I felt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great when they did it at WrestleMania with Edge and Daniel Bryan, or I guess we call them Bryan Danielson and Adam Copeland now. But that, like, it worked and it was impressive when they did it the first time. Like you said, it's just so contrived. It felt forced. Like, oh, hey, we've got Roman Reigns in another multi-man match. Let's have him do another stack pin.
Yeah, agreed. On Solo Sikoa's interference, do you think that we see a Solo Sikoa match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber?
Probably Elimination.
I mean, we just got that on SmackDown. Yes, it ended in no, it didn't end in a DQ, did it?
It was a short
from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
That was
I'm pretty sure it was a pinfall victory.
I think it was.
But I know Solo ended up going through the table because of the triple power bomb.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
I just can't remember how the match actually finished. If it was a DQ finish, I think that would be a decent cause for a WrestleMania match, especially if they give it the right build. But how do you build to a match that we've already seen a proper finish for? Even if it's not clean, like if it's not a clean finish, like it's been done.
That's fair. So what do you kind of we're kind of going a little aside here. What would you do with Orton for Mania? What do you do with Orton?
Oh, you know what? If you've got nothing, if they decide that Seth can't make it to Mania and they need to vacate the title, Orton versus Punk for the world title at WrestleMania would be a hell of a match.
Yeah. That's good.
Speaking of Mania too, I feel like we're just like diverging left and right here. Any chance with Seth's injury and the rehab going into it, any chance that his match with Punk somehow becomes a triple threat with Punk, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins, where Punk and Drew could do most of the heavy lifting and Seth could kind of not have to work as hard in the match?
Well, and even your comments earlier about multi-man matches, like the champ doesn't have to be factored in the decision. I think that's one of these instances where it could very well come in handy. Yeah, exactly. Protect the champ heading into surgery. Like, it's bad enough that he's going to have to get. Well, does he have to get surgery? Is I think the question, because does he just rehab it and
get the surgery?
Like, I know it. Yeah, like it was a partial MCL tear, right?
It's a grade 2, so it's pretty much torn. Like half.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So does he even risk the WrestleMania match without surgery?
He's probably getting
he wants to
now, and they want to buy time. But I think that's why they were teasing Gunther last week, was it?
Yeah,
he might just jump Seth and beat his ass or something like that, and he has to vacate the title. And then when he comes back, he has a feud with Gunther.
Also, can we talk about, you got Seth Rollins there limping his way to the ring. Why the hell doesn't Damian Priest cash in?
Yeah.
I think There must. I think they had to have mentioned something on air about why Priest wasn't able to cash in. He had a backstage segment that episode, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had asked about it, but I agree. Like, and that was something that I think we mentioned at day one as well. That he just has really bad ideas about cashing in or not cashing in, how to do it, when to do it.
Yeah. Terrible decision making skills. Terrible.
I don't think they know what to do with him. They gave him it, and they have no clue what to do with him now.
I think they're kind of treading water with it. It's sometimes that the briefcase can be a little bit of an albatross, and I think that it's starting to get to that point with Priest, where it's just like he needs to either cash in and lose the cash in, or lose, I don't know, gamble the briefcase, lose it to somebody else in a match. I don't know what to do with it. Like,
just don't do what they did with Austin Theory and have him challenge for the U.S. title. Like, that is a huge downgrade, especially for Damian Priest. Like, it needs to be either cash it in on the Intercontinental title and beat Gunther with it, or cash in on a world title. If that's what they're setting up for at WrestleMania, if they want to mirror Seth's cash in for Damian Priest, I'd be fine with that. But obviously, he's only got until July. So at the most, we're only going to see him hold it for another 5-ish months.
Right, exactly.
He's a tag team champ right now, or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why is he even a tag team? You know?
Because the Judgment Day, they wanted them to hold all the titles at the same time.
I'm surprised, though, every time they successfully defend those belts. Like, I feel like it's like they've got to come off them at some point just to continue the fracture of Judgment Day. But
how have they still not unified those titles? Like, they've given representation for the Universal title as represented by one belt. Why do they still have separate Raw and SmackDown tag team titles?
To piss me off, specifically.
Every single week is just a giant middle finger to one specific person.
I hate the straps for those. Like, the dark blue that was used for the Universal Championship, I thought looked good. But, like, that blue, yeah, exactly, that looks good. But the blue they use for the tag titles, it's like SmackDown blue. And it's way too blue, and I think the red straps are way too red. They look like toys to me. I hate the centerpiece medallions. I guess the silver ones are better than the copper D-cell battery ones that they had when they first debuted those belts, but they look god awful. And yeah, like, why haven't they combined them? It's been well over a year that they've been referring to them as either the unified or undisputed tag titles. Give them one set of belts. Like, I really, at this point, I don't think we need two sets of tag titles. Floating tag champs are fine. Like,
I disagree, though. I think that if you had a tag team championship for Raw and a tag team championship for SmackDown, like, still the best set of tag team title belts at the same time were the retro belts from, like, the early Ruthless Aggression era. Like, that's those style of belts.
Like London and Kendrick were SmackDown tag champs.
Yeah, those SmackDown belts, and then the Lance Cade, Trevor Murdoch sort of world tag title belts. Like, those were mint title designs. Those were gorgeous.
I haven't thought Lance Cade Murdoch in a long time.
Right? I was watching I've been watching Dark Side of the Ring, and they talk about Lance Cade in one of the episodes, I'm pretty sure. But
yeah, he died on an airplane, right? Pretty young.
He overdosed at 26 or something, right?
It was super crazy.
I gotta get the fiance watching that show. She's a big true crime watcher, and I feel like I can. She tolerates the wrestling. She enjoys it to an. She enjoys it to an extent, but sorry. Go ahead, man.
Have you seen the TNA belts, the tag belts?
Yes.
Yeah, the new belts.
All the belts look fantastic.
They're amazing.
Those new belts look great, I think.
Yeah.
The one that I thought was still, like, the Digital Media Championship is still one that I'm like, why does this title exist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is
that's why
a
it's
fair
smaller,
summation.
yeah. But they made it smaller, so it's like the presence isn't there, like the World Championship, and then how they have the different like silver for the tag belts.
Right.
You know?
The
Yeah.
red
Yeah. Thank you.
straps for the red strap for the tag team titles.
Oh yeah. The X division. That's
I think the Knockouts title has the white stripe.
yeah, white. Yeah,
But
they were.
consistency across the board as far as the design of the belts. As much as WWE gets crapped on for, the Universal title and the WWE title and the Raw and SmackDown women's titles all looking the same. Like,
Right.
those are some nice looking belts that TNA
Yeah.
has, even though
Yeah.
they're essentially largely clones of each other.
Yeah. I will say too, the center medallion piece for the digital media, which, and again, CJ, I'm with you. I'm very much of, really does this belt need to exist? But it's a really cool looking belt when you look at it up close, because it looks like a circuit board.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
and I
rad.
like that about
Like,
the old belt too.
That's a cool design. Like, I'll give them credit where credit's due on that. But gentlemen, anything else on the Fatal 4-Way tonight?
No, it was just everybody knew. I think it wasn't a shock at all.
Yeah. It's hard to get invested when you know that Roman is going to win. Like, and I said this on the SmackDown Rewind last night. Props to all three challengers for building up this match without Roman Reigns. But at the same time, how do I get invested in any of these guys when I know that Roman is just going to win?
Right.
Yeah. Quick question. Did you notice, like, with LA Knight, like, he's kind of losing his steam a little, like it comes up and then down, the crowd doesn't know what to do anymore with him?
Well, and I think that's just the level of the main event scene right now. Like, they have they have a wide field of contenders that it's hard for LA Knight, who's still kind of getting his footing in the main event scene, to be getting that sort of exposure. I mean, but to be fair, even look at where he was at this time last year, the lights out match with Bray Wyatt, which he lost. Now he's challenging for the Universal title against names like AJ Styles. Yes. And he's very likely heading into a WrestleMania feud with AJ Styles. Last WrestleMania in his hometown, he wasn't even on the card.
Yeah.
So I think he does have a bright future for the rest of his career there. That I am certain of. I think as much as I've said Gunther has a wild 2024 and successful year ahead of him, largely I think the same could be said for LA Knight. If they decide to really pull the trigger on him, I think he could carry the company for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if not, just turn him heel, because he's perfect heel too.
I don't think a heel LA Knight would work as well as his face run right now. Like, he's got so much momentum, and he's carried that momentum since LA Knight came back. But they didn't give him the opportunity until the huge fan swell randomly heading into Money in the Bank.
And at least they listened to that fan swell. I've always said that, we're 10 years removed from it. I've been seeing so much of this stuff in my my Facebook memories, but it was 10 years ago that they were fumbling the Daniel Bryan situation.
Yeah.
And I would hope that, having lived through it firsthand, directly involved, that Hunter's learned from that sort of issue and wouldn't let it repeat itself anymore. If someone gets hot, put something behind them. Find a place to put them in an elevated position and make the money while they're hot. Like, not everyone's going to get hot again. And we've watched it happen time and time again over the years, Zack Ryder, Daniel Bryan, until, Hunter talks some, fucking sense into Vince about it on a plane. Well, I remember Daniel Bryan's brief, membership in the Wyatt family. Like, it was crazy what they thought they were going to do with that.
Which they ended up undoing 3 weeks after they did it.
Yeah, that was just stubborn Vince.
Yeah. It was
And there's a lot of stubborn Vince. Roman Reigns is a pure example of how stubborn Vince McMahon can be as far as booking the main events.
Now, do you think that once we're said and done with Roman being Universal Champion, which I do think that loss is going to happen at WrestleMania 40, I think Cody's got to fit. If Cody doesn't finish the story at WrestleMania 40, the story doesn't get finished. That's it. Because no one's going to care. No one's going to care after this.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like I said, earlier, like, how do you get that investment into Cody Rhodes if you give him this opportunity 2 years in a row and he fumbles the ball 2 years in a row?
Yeah, there's no way.
No. But do you think that there's a chance that we see a successfully done face Roman Reigns after his Universal title loss?
I think they could pull it off.
I think they can pull it off because the character itself does have support, and it's very much like The Rock in that way. All he has to do is tweak a couple aspects of his character, and boom, he's a face, or boom, he's a heel. So for him, I see a face run, no problem. But have we seen the most of Roman Reigns right now? Because we know he's part-time talent for the rest of his career. Like there's no way he takes a contract with more dates for less money.
Right,
so no, and I can't say I blame him. WWE worked themselves into this position, and unfortunately, that just means we're going to have less of Roman Reigns. Well, unfortunate or fortunate, depending on which side of the lens you view that from.
I thought it was interesting and kind of important that they had Michael Cole address how rarely Roman Reigns defends that title on commentary, and I like the way they handled it, in which he said something along the lines of, people say that he barely defends the title, and to those people I say, beat him.
Well, here's the thing, it makes it special, like a boxing fight or UFC or something like that. Like when he's on every week, it's not special, but you do that 3-4 times a year, then it's a big deal.
But at the same time, how do you hype this 1,000+ day reign that objectively it's defended like a boxing title or a UFC title, where it's defended on a less frequent basis? But how do you say that he can be considered in the same breath as these greats that have held the title just as long or longer when he hasn't defended it nearly as much?
I agree. Like, how many times a week did Ric Flair defend the NWA championship when he was NWA champion?
Nightly.
You know what I mean? That was like every match on the road. That's why he went town to town. You wrestled the top star from that territory. It was constant. And I mean, and even looking back as, recently as the early 2000s, late 90s, with the way the house shows worked then, you had title defenses on all of the house shows. My point is that 30-day rule, which obviously is not a rule anymore, it was something that was implemented in part of how, title reigns worked. And I miss that. I wish it was still there. That's one of the things, like, once the title is off of Roman Reigns, it's going to change the scope of how the title picture on SmackDown works. Because Cody's going to be there every week.
Mm-hmm. We said the same thing about Brock Lesnar, though, when he was on Raw. And I mean, the parallels have been pointed out about his title reign compared to Roman's title reign, and the promo where he tore a strip off Brock for being a part-timer. I mean, Cena went through the same thing with The Rock, but it's still a very pertinent conversation. Like, how do you say to the people that are coming up through the PC that your aspiration is to work as little as possible for as much money as possible, which, yes, obviously that's the American dream. But
exactly.
Like, how do you, but in the context of holding a championship, how do you say this is something that you work for, but you're going to sparsely defend it?
Yeah, I agree. Like it to me, it and I think they're going to move away from that. From what they've been saying, WWE is moving back towards a more real sport feel.
Yeah.
And I think for that reason, you're going to see regular title defenses more frequently. We're going to see fewer instances like Roman Reigns or like Logan Paul, who we'll be talking here about in just a minute, which it said tonight was his 81st day as U.S. champion. And has he defended it a single time?
Nope.
Exactly.
This was his first defense.
And that is one thing I don't like about it. Like, yes, the belt being on him gives it more visibility. He wears it at UFC events, which is so funny because that makes UFC have to fucking acknowledge WWE.
They have to acknowledge it anyways. It's all the same parent company.
I know, but they still hate it. Dana White's still pissy about it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
But yeah, like it's. Anyway, but you know what? Are we good on the Fatal 4-Way? Shall we move on to the U.S. title match?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so we had Logan Paul and KO, and Logan Paul retains the championship, wins the match via disqualification when Kevin Owens gets caught using the old brass knucks, the old William Regal special there. On Logan Paul.
It wasn't even that he got caught using them. He got caught wearing them during the pinfall, which is even better. Like, that is phenomenal storytelling. We've definitely seen more often where specific instances where someone will cost themselves the victory, like Rollins and McIntyre, for example. The fact that Drew carried Seth's momentum so that his foot touched the ropes and cost himself a pinfall attempt. This is the exact same thing. The fact that he didn't take the brass knuckles off and allowed the referee to see them still on his hand, he cost himself that victory. And it's even better because the fact that it wasn't a win that Logan Paul earned.
Right.
Which, if he for all he's talked about going full time and really like putting all effort into this WWE career, it makes a great hallmark for a heel champion to be like, yeah, I defended my title. Look at me, I'm so great. Meanwhile, it was his opponent that cost himself the win.
Yeah, Logan Paul didn't win the match. Kevin Owens lost it. And and you can make an argument, with the brass knuck still being on his hand is it kayfabe broken, or is there something really wrong with his hand? Okay, but you can make the argument he was wrestling without the cast on. Between adrenaline and damage done to his hand, that thing could have been completely numb. He might have actually not felt that the knuckles were even still on there. So, like, there's a lot you can say. There's a lot of ways out of this. But, I mean, does this continue the feud for Kevin Owens? And you think they take that into as far as Mania?
Elimination Chamber. I don't know about it. Yeah, I think the Chamber. But the good thing was, for once, the referee didn't look like a complete dumbass.
Yeah. The refs look great tonight, actually. Like, in the men's match when AOP was trying to come down to the ring, the refs actually got in their way and shouted, like, you have to listen, we're the referees. I think that was the exact quote that came out of her mouth. But, like, they actually were enforcing shit, which is great. Again, more real sports feel. I'd like them to go back to not telling the referees the finish of the match.
I had the thought earlier tonight of, like, even the Royal Rumble match, like, they have to have contingency plans for if shit goes sideways. But like,
Carlito almost fell off.
Oh, true, but I mean, like, if Cody Rhodes had been eliminated,
he almost slipped. It was.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. The apple kind of, you could see it kind of like come off his hand a little bit as he gripped onto it.
Jeez.
What about Kyrie?
Yeah, that could have been scary.
Supposed to fall too, right there. Kyrie, was she supposed to fall right there or no?
Oh, see, I wondered that.
I think she was, because it was right after Asuka got eliminated. So I think it was like, and the way they presented it with Bayley, was like well, you just lost both your teammates at the same time, so sucks to suck. So I definitely think that one was planned.
When that spot happened, my fiance was like, "How was she expecting to actually get back in the ring?" She was like, "That looked really cool, but how was she expecting to get back in the ring?" And I'm like, I think she was expecting Bayley and Asuka to pull her back up, but
and because Asuka was still there, that's what I was expecting too. But even for her to just like kind of shimmy her feet up the LED ring apron, and like just enough to kind of push your body to grab the next rope up and keep carrying yourself up that way. But yeah, no, I was very surprised that she wasn't able to clinch that recovery.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that they didn't have those LED ring apron boards when they did the Royal Rumble overseas, because Titus O'Neil would have broken his arms.
Oh my God.
He just went right into it. Probably would have gotten electrocuted. It would have been awful.
I imagine, awesome. Yeah. Like I can't imagine there's any give behind those LED boards.
No. The match itself with Paul and KO was, I thought, really good. Another really great showing from Logan Paul. I want to hate Logan Paul so much. I find him so obnoxious. But like, the fact of the matter is, he looks like a year's experienced pro wrestler. And he's not. Like, he looks so far beyond his experience level with, him saying he's going full time. I'm excited to see what he looks like, in a year or 2 years or even 5 years down the road. Like, he's going to be a long stay megastar for this company, and he's just so damn talented in it, and that makes me hate him a little bit more, because it's like, I want to hate you so much, because I thought it's like, oh great, here comes another celebrity into pro wrestling, a YouTube. Actually, let me take that back. A Vine. We're going way back with Vine. Rest in peace, Vine. But Vine collapsed. YouTube got overrun with a bunch of people that should have been making videos longer than 7 seconds anyway. And we got the Paul brothers out of it, right? So when they brought him in, I'm like, fucking great. Here we go. It's one of the Paul brothers. I hate it. But my God, he's so talented in the ring. He's so athletic. He's such a naturally gifted heel. Thought it was kind of odd that he was slapping hands and giving away bottles of Prime tonight on his way to the ring, being that he is a heel.
Right, but that's also his side business. Like
that's true. He's always running the side hustle. By the way, that was how the 10-year-old recognized Logan Paul. He was walking out one night and she goes, "Oh, that's the Prime guy."
Yeah.
Apparently the guy from the Not Safe for Work South Park special.
Right. Yeah. The Prime, apparently Prime, huge in the 4th grade, just so we're clear. Who knew? Yeah. But he looks so good in the ring, and he looks so much more experienced than he is. He obviously, like, mic skills were a no-brainer for him. He's been in front of cameras since he was a kid in high school,
Disney. Well, he was in Disney or something, right?
Was he really?
I think so. I'm not sure, but I think when he was little too, he was in, pretty much his whole life. Yeah.
That tracks.
But like, he's great in front of a camera, and it's just like, again, I just want to, and I get, and I do get to hate him. I get to boo him. I get to want to see him get beat. And I look forward to him losing the U.S. Championship, and it's probably going to be a while.
Well, and I made similar parallels last night when I was talking about Vince McMahon. And just like the separation of the artist from the art is what kills me the most about Logan Paul. Like, knowing the Suicide Forest video exists, and knowing the Crypto Zeus scandal, and just everything else that comes with Logan Paul being Logan Paul. But it's like you said, he is so good in the ring that his success really just makes you hate him more.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's very much like a much more athletic Miz.
Yeah.
The irony that the Miz is what brought him into, or is who brought him into the WWE, and in storyline anyways. And now we literally say, yeah, he's literally the Miz, but better.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though. Like, when it comes to Logan Paul, I would like to see how he would do in a match with someone that is maybe a rung or a rung and a half below the caliber of wrestler he's been able to work with. Because you got to think, like, he's had really great matches, but, like, he's had matches with Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns. Like, you know, you're in there with guys that know how to call a match in the ring. So, like, he's in there with experienced ring generals, not ring generals, not to be confused. But
not
like,
yet.
Not yet. But like, I want to see like how can he call a match? You know what I mean?
No.
I think he has the athleticism. Like, he's a very talented athlete. He's proven himself in a boxing ring. He's proven himself in a wrestling ring. But I don't know that he has the psychology down.
So
And full disclosure, I have never set foot in a ring for anything other than a photo op. Like, I've not wrestled a match. I have not learned how to wrestle a match, but I think it's clear that his big draw is his personality and his athleticism. And if they are cashing in on that this early in his career, how much time has he really even had to learn the in-ring psychology of calling a match?
Yeah,
I think he'll get there.
Choreographed, you know, for now.
Yeah, he probably likes to plan out more of the big spots, which is fine. Maybe he gets there, maybe he doesn't. There's plenty of great wrestlers that were really good wrestlers, but weren't the guys that called it in the ring. I've always said that, and you know, people can at me if they want. But I've always said that about Batista. I thought Batista was a great wrestler as long as he was in there with a good ring general. And again, you can at me if you want. I've always said that. I said that about Umaga. That's why I think that the Umaga Batista match at WrestleMania that year was such a train wreck. Because I think that while both incredibly talented wrestlers and incredibly skilled in the ring, they needed someone to call the match. And I think that, like, you know, you can be a great wrestler and not know how to do that, but we'll see what happens with Logan going forward. But yeah, but
that last match of Umaga's, since we're talking about him, his match at Extreme Rules against Jeff Hardy, literally like 2 days or 1 day before he got released because he didn't want to go to rehab, that match was garbage. And comparatively, I think it was because Jeff Hardy wasn't in good shape to be that lead that Umaga needed through that match.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. And I mean, we've seen Jeff have his troubles over the year, and that certainly wasn't Jeff's worst showing on camera. TNA.
Talking about TNA tonight.
Right. God.
Or his Rampage tag team matches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love the.
Did he ever get fined for that one?
I don't know.
For that tweet about being confined to Rampage?
I don't know. Yeah. Daniel Bryan's a pretty harsh ruler there with the media presence, but I don't know why I love that it's Bryan Danielson. My mistake, guys. I was here wearing my Yes shirt the other day. Like I still live.
I think I still got mine somewhere around here too.
But like, I love that he's doing that because I don't know this for sure, but I feel like he was a hall monitor in school.
I would buy it.
I feel like he's always, and that's the thing. Like, it's why it's kind of hard for me to buy him as a heel, because I look at him and I'm like, you're such a white meat baby face. Like, you're like the all-American guy. Like, you did well in school. Like, you never got in trouble. You snitched on the kids smoking the cigarettes on the playground, or vaping. To our young viewers, cigarettes were these things that people used to smoke before the battery-powered vape things existed. It's when phones were connected by cords to the wall, and we had to have film developed by a man in a booth in a parking lot.
You had to hail a taxi with your thumb in an entirely different manner.
Yeah.
And honestly, I probably should have phrased that a little bit better. But
dirt sheet radio.
That's putting an entirely different picture in my head. Let's move on.
But anything else on the Logan Paul Kevin Owens match?
Did you see how hard Kevin was hitting him, his chest?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, there was
initiation.
And that does more good for Logan Paul as well, because if he's wearing those chops, then he's proving to all of his doubters that he does in fact belong. If you think you're going to chop Logan Paul out of a WWE ring, clearly you're mistaken.
Yeah. And they're going to have to, he's going to have those kind of establishing matches that make him look really tough. We've talked about that for different wrestlers over the years. The example of the Shawn Michaels Mankind match at Mind Games, the In Your House show, where Shawn attributed that to people viewing him as an actual like tough wrestler after that match. And sometimes you have to do that. Like it took years for The Miz to get to a point where like people viewed him as someone who could be viewed as a legitimate tough guy. But like they might have to start to lean into that for Logan at some point, because you're right, like with the way he came in as a social media star, but he is a legit athlete too. That's the thing, though. It's a little different for him.
He's
like
a big athlete, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if they ever decide to capitalize on a face run for Logan Paul at any point, like he had good face momentum heading into his match with Roman Reigns. So it's not super out of the realm of possibility. Even if they want to come at it from the tack of, here's where I started, here's where I'm at, I've just continued to get better and better, start working in some of that extra squeaky clean baby face cheese and, see where that gets you. Because that's what I've found about how easy it is for talent to get over based on their move sets. Like guys like Ricochet, guys like Logan Paul, they can get over because people enjoy seeing high flying moves and they execute that so well. Logan Paul has easily top 5 character presentations in the WWE right now, hands down, because of his promo ability, for sure. So for him, like sky is the limit, and probably even further beyond that. But it's tough, man, because you love to hate him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen, shall we move on to our closing segment here, our jobbers and megastars of the night? We'll start, as we always do, with the jobber of this evening. And gentlemen, I'm going to spear the lead on this one. I'm actually going to go with Maxine Dupree because she's so bad.
She's terrible.
Like it's just like to me. It's just I'm so angry. It was just a wasted spot. There is a dozen other women that I can think of off the top of my head that could have taken that spot that would have been a better choice than her.
Yeah.
Just bad.
But that was the easiest one right there.
Yeah. But I would say so. Maxine Dupree would be my my personal jobber of the night.
Yeah.
Mine is a fellow women's Rumble participant, but I gave this one to Valhalla. Like, at least Maxine had seen some decent action during the match. The fact that she goes in, gets eliminated 5 seconds later at the victim, again, being the victim of an R-Truth comedy segment, like that is jobber of the night, stamped and verified for me, hands down.
Yeah.
No, it was all Maxine Dupree. She was
Maxine.
Bad.
Still on Maxine. All right,
and that's still fair.
It really came down between Valhalla and Maxine for me, honestly. But all right, so that'll bring us to the megastars of the night, gentlemen. Who do you have as your megastar?
Go ahead, Jordan. She looked like
Jordan Grace.
Yeah, no doubt about it for me. For women's,
she did look great.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think that the WWE audience had to have been impressed. Even the folks that did not know who she was at all had to have been impressed. So I think that there's a real good chance that we see her in a WWE ring again sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and especially if they decide to grow this partnership, like with Endeavor looking after TNA Plus, it's very easy to assume that I don't think we're going to see WWE talent on TNA shows in the near future, but I think the door's definitely open for TNA to come to WWE.
Yeah. You don't think they'll put NXT talent in TNA?
They didn't promote Charlie Dempsey going to All Japan the way I thought they were going to. Maybe because it wasn't televised, but I think the thing that they have to consider too is a lot of their talent contracts in WWE are going to specifically say that you cannot appear on other companies' televised programming. So for them to say, no, okay, you can appear on theirs, they might actually get legal counsel against that, because that could be a breach of contract on their end. If they go to a talent and say, you're going to work this TNA show, then that could open up some legal liability.
I mean, maybe if it was, they could somehow work it into like, it's more of a like, hey, is this something you'd be interested in doing, as opposed to like,
Oh, sure.
I mean, you got to remember, like back in the '90s, they sent talent to appear on Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, sure, and I mean, even ECW, they had a talent share with WWF for some of their TV
those
shows.
Jerry Lawler bets. Whew.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Dudleys when they were, or no, there was a shot, I think, of someone in the ring on during ECW. It was the Hammerstein in the 90s, and there was WWF talent in an ECW ring, and I can't remember who it was. If someone in the comments can cite my source, that would be great. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. No, I don't think it was Bret Hart.
Yeah. Well, they had Bret Hart and Terry Funk, remember?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, they had Bret Hart come down.
Oh, okay.
For the Chainsaw Charge, that time he was in WWE, they brought Bret Hart down there to do a match.
Oh, interesting. Wow, damn. Did not know that.
Pretty sure. Hope so. But I'm pretty sure.
But
also fair.
CJ, who'd you have for your megastar this season?
Got to be Cody Rhodes. I mean, they hyped up the fact that it was the first back-to-back Royal Rumble winners since Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yep. Like, for him to be able to pull that off is megastar material. Hands down.
That's and Cody was going to be mine as well, and that's rarefied air right there. You know, your name is now only with two others in winning those back-to-back Rumbles, and those two other names are Hulk. Three?
Hogan.
HBK, Hulk Hogan, and Austin. Right? He did it back to back, didn't he?
Yeah. I didn't think Hogan did back to back. I thought there was a year gap in Hogan's.
I thought it was. I thought it went John Studd, Jim Duggan, and then Hulk Hogan the next 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. So
I could be wrong.
But regardless, like those are the names he's associated with. Exactly. Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Hulk Hogan. Like, holy crap! Like that's now how we feel about them individually aside. There's no argument to the contribution to the sport, and like that's a Mount Rushmore of names right there. So I mean, you're right. That's such a huge like main event superstar thing for Cody to be able to say that he has.
Well, and that's the same conversation that we can have about Roman Reigns, like his reign lasting as long as guys like Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund. And to say Roman Reigns in the same breath as those guys is a huge tip of the cap. And now we're talking about Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, main eventing WrestleMania again. Right. This has the potential to be an even bigger main event because of the storyline that they've put forward with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, the story that they've put forward with Cody Rhodes returning to the company, finishing the story. It was big when they did it in Hollywood. Mix in the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, and the fact that so much more is riding on this, and it gets even bigger somehow.
Yeah. Yep. It's huge. I'm always excited Mania season, but I'm even more excited this year. I think WWE is in such a good place right now in terms of their storytelling and their talent. Like they're, selling out most of their shows. It's we're leaning into a big, kind of a boom period for them right now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens going forward. It's exciting. It's a really exciting time of year. hella excited that Cody won, like I said, as just the guy that's somehow always the the 9 or 10-year-old kid internally that stumbled on wrestling for the first time when he saw it. Like, it's great. Like, I love it. And shows like tonight are one of those big reminders as to why I watch wrestling.
There's so much unprecedented things happening in the industry right now. Like this Netflix deal alone, the fact that the longest running weekly episodic television show in history,
more episodes combined than Seinfeld, The Simpsons, like Jesus Christ, Michael Cole, Gunsmoke, Bonanza.
But like, yes, the fact that that show is not going to have a cable home for the first time in 30 years is newsworthy in and of itself. $5 billion for WWE in this Netflix deal that is seeing the international death of the WWE network. Like that is, and the network itself was huge when they announced it.
Yeah.
So to think that they changed the game and then immediately we're just like, okay, we're going to give it to Netflix now.
Well, and we're right on the verge of the 10-year anniversary of the launch of the network.
Yeah, that was around the time that Punk walked out.
It was right. It launched right around WrestleMania 30.
All right.
Because I think that was the first event that subscribers could watch. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're right there. So it is interesting, like in a relatively short time frame, how they revolutionized it and then did it again. And streaming, it's a gamble, but streaming is where things are going. There are fewer and fewer people every year that have cable and will have access to the USA Network. And I mean, there are a lot of people that haven't had cable for a decade that might have been WWE fans that maybe just watch the pay-per-views because, hey, you can stream them on Peacock or formerly the network. But like that could bring some lapsed fans back to the product, especially now because the product's so damn good.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Like, fuck Vince McMahon, first of all. But the fact that he doesn't have any say in the goings-on of WWE for the first time in the history of the company, there's no McMahon involvement. McMahon adjacent with his son-in-law, but that also begs the question, the fact that there's talk of clearing house of any Vince associates that could be a problem for TKO in the future. Do we see that including his stepson?
I think Hunter would be immune to that. I really do. I don't know if you saw the picture of Hunter and Sean walking into the venue from earlier.
No, I didn't see that.
It's gosh, I don't know that I saved it or not, but like it's a picture, like their facial expressions are basically shouting just like, we run the show now. Like they look very, very happy. This is kind of jank, but I don't know if my ring light's getting in the way there.
A little bit. Oh yeah. But I see it.
They look happy. They're thrilled. Like it's the old man's gone and we're running the show. It turns out DX beat Vince.
Yeah. Like the Rebels are running the show now.
Right. And so I don't think Hunter would be gone. I expect Bruce Pritchard to be the fuck out of the company though.
Yes.
I thought he's leaving anyway, right?
He probably was. Well, you gotta look at all the people that left within the past few months.
It's kind of like Kevin Dunn saw the writing on the wall in a way.
Oh yeah,
I think so. Well, even before like the this coming out and the resignation happening, Vince didn't have power anymore. TKO already said, you're not doing anything creative. You don't need to be at the shows. Like that's it. Like he's running this, Hunter's running this. You have some shares and you're on the board and you have a vote and that's it. So like even then, like, he's not really had a lot of power anymore, but now there's nothing. It's wild that we live in a time frame now where there's no McMahon involvement. As well, there shouldn't be at this point. It's going to be an interesting ride going forward, seeing how all of this develops and what continues to come out. And I was reminded earlier today that there was that, there's a grand jury investigation into Vince where they, had a subpoena and a warrant for things in his home. And, God knows if there are criminal charges coming down the pike for something as well. Vince has dodged a lot of things over the years for a very long time. And
I didn't see it until now when I went looking for it, because I didn't know if it was going to come up in the Royal Rumble press conference, these allegations about Vince and him stepping down. Cody Rhodes did get asked during the press conference, and I have his comments here. I know as far as the news is concerned, we were finding out and reading the same things you guys were reading. You said a dark cloud, certainly. As for TKO, Nick Khan and the board clearly took it very seriously, acted immediately, and looking at the future. I don't know the answer to that, and I think somewhere is a really probably basic tenet of this crew, more than ever from a roster standpoint, is very family. And he kind of talks about like everyone looking out for everyone, being accountable, and then kind of ending with and it's very reinforcing if you're in my position that it's a time when, hey, we have 50,000 people out here. I want to give them something else from this weekend that isn't a terrible situation and terrible news. I think we were able to do that. Obviously, as more news comes out, we'll be seeing it like you do. So the fact that he's kind of giving corporate speak, at least they knew it was coming, that they were going to get questions about Vince, and they had the people prepared to answer that question.
Well, so I was surprised when they announced that they were going to be doing a press conference at all.
I feel like they had to. If they didn't, they would have just got called out for it even harder.
That's true. that is true.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I feel like they. Sorry, Frank. I was talking over you.
No, that's right. No, I'm saying Cody's the consummate professional, so of course they're gonna go with him. Him or the Miz. That's their go-to whenever they need to speak to the press. Because they're perfect people for that job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the other question that I had with regards to how this whole thing has shaken out from the day that Vince stepped down the first time. So when he put out the tweet, Stephanie McMahon goes out on SmackDown and says Vince has officially retired. Do we think that this whole thing would have been an issue for the company and for TKO if Vince had stepped aside, and if this was still not even under TKO? Because if Vince had stepped down and stayed away, he would still have control of the company through his shares. TKO wouldn't be a thing, and he would still essentially be in control. Do you think this would have happened had he stayed away?
Yeah. I think there's more to come,
Yeah, I think there were things behind the scenes already kind of moving in this direction, and that's just more because of the whole grand jury subpoena thing. But yeah, I think that this would have happened eventually, regardless of that. But I think it would have been a lot worse for WWE as a company without it happening under TKO, because at least they have the plausible deniability of, well, these were things that occurred before our acquisition of the company. Vince McMahon has been removed from the board, and also he would have been removed. I think they gave him the grace to have the option to resign, so it at least looks like you willingly left. He was going to be gone. As soon as sponsors were like, we're pulling sponsorship, that was it. Yeah. He had to be out the door.
Well, not even sponsors, specifically Slim Jim.
Right.
Slim Jim, right.
And I even commented on one of the posts on Dirt Sheet Radio's Facebook page, if this didn't die down, and if he had decided that he was going to stay on and fight through it, and if TKO decided that they were going to let him stay, which, first of all, terrible move, but if this hadn't died down heading into WrestleMania, very good chance they would have lost Snickers too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Absolutely. And I'm sure everything's already been signed on Netflix, but I'm assuming Netflix wouldn't have been too happy about everything with that either. So it could have endangered a lot of things.
After dropping 5 Bayley, right?
Right, exactly. Hey, you know, that's why now they're calling CM Punk 5 Bill Phil, you know.
Because he got the Netflix deal.
Yeah. I mean, that's how 20 years from now he will paint that story.
If WWE still owned his name after he walked out the first time, he could have been 5 Bill Phil in AEW. It wouldn't have made sense because there wouldn't have been any context, but he wouldn't have.
Still would have worked. That's one of those names. I was stunned when he came into the ECW on Sci-Fi that they let him keep that name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I wonder if it was just back then they didn't have as stringent policies. Like even early in NXT when you had guys like Tyler Black come in and be renamed Seth Rollins,
right.
But guys like Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, they can just walk in and continue to be themselves.
Well, I
think
feel
they
like
didn't have faith in them at the beginning. You know, they didn't say anything with Punk.
Well, but like with like someone like in NXT, with someone like Rollins getting the name change from Tyler Black coming from Ring of Honor, I think at that time Ring of Honor didn't have as wide of an audience as it did by the time Adam Cole and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly were going to NXT.
Yeah.
True.
Because I think by then your NXT viewing audience was virtually the same audience that was watching Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Very true.
Fair.
A lot of overlap there. I can see that.
Yeah. More diehards.
Right. But yeah, gentlemen, I think that for the most part wraps up the 2024 Royal Rumble. It is 2:15 in the AM here on the East Coast.
This is officially the longest rewind show I've ever been on.
2 hours. I think we went closer to 3 for the Survivor Series show. But
Did we go closer to 3?
I thought
we were still under 2.
I have to go back and check that. That feels like so long ago now, honestly.
Like a whole lifetime.
Right?
Like it was only 3 months, but goddamn.
I mean, gosh, back then they had just recently started the Who Attacked Trick Williams angle. You know, it feels so long ago, you know. What a different world.
We still haven't even resolved it.
No. But gentlemen, real quick here, before we sign off, we'll just tell the folks again who we are, where you can find you, and when we'll see you again. CJ, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks where that can be?
Well, I will be calling as every Tuesday. I'll be calling the Rewind with Tyler on Tuesday nights after NXT. Fridays, calling SmackDown the same way every week. And looking forward to Vengeance Day. I think is going to be the next PLE that I'm on. Very excited.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, and I feel like my predictions about Stand and Deliver are going to be largely correct, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, at CJ Carter 22 on Twitter as well, and looking forward to NXT on Tuesday.
Awesome. All right, you can find me on Enforcers Pro Wrestling on TikTok, Enforcers BJJ on Facebook and Instagram. Frank Kerner BJJ on Instagram. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, so all the BJJ is in my handle. But thank you guys. I'm always on. Hopefully more AEW Collision. We can never seem to get that one going.
Yeah, it's with them doing PLEs on Saturdays throws kind of a wrench of that, and that's kind of across the board for pretty much any group that reports on pro wrestling, especially live the night of. Like you got to make those calls, and it's hard to not report on the Rumble there. But yeah, it was good good having you on tonight, Frank. It was a good time.
You. And appreciate it.
And always good. It's a hell of favorite time of year, WrestleMania season. But I am, as always, the pro wrestling hipster Tyler, and it's at PW Hipster across the board, except for Facebook, which is the Pro Wrestling Hipster, and I put the emphasis on the like an Ohio State fan does. For the folks in the Ohio area, the Brian Kendrick. No, they really do. They go hard on that here in Columbus. The Ohio State University thing. I'm like, you really don't need to emphasize it that hard. But as CJ said, I will be here every Tuesday night calling NXT with
Soup.
Sorry, yeah, like, whew, I ran out of water a minute ago. I'm drying out over here. But with that DC Soup and CJ doing the NXT shows, and I'm on Monday nights with Caesar and Eduardo recapping Monday Night Raw, which it'll probably be a fun Raw this week. Coming out of the Royal Rumble, the first Raw on the road to WrestleMania officially. But yeah, guys, it's been wonderful, and thank you everyone that watches live and watches us on delay. And for Dirt Sheet Radio, hope you all have a wonderful night. We are on the road to WrestleMania. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you again soon.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeet. No yeet.
No yeet. Yeet, no yeet.
Definitely not tonight.
No.
So I